Welcome into the SMITE Minor League here today. My name is Finch, and on this Tuesday, we have two huge sets lined up for you here in the SML EU between those top 4 teams that are fighting towards trying to make it to that placement week. As I said, I'm Finch. I'm joined here on the desk by Zeros. You might recognize him from tearing up the SMITE Pro League for about as long as we can all remember. Zeros, happy to have you here with me, man.
Tearing up the Pro League.
Oh, yeah, man.
Thank you.
That's right, yeah. Better than Hindu Man, right? Yeah, absolutely. He's a lot meaner on the desk than I am. Let's talk a little bit about the path that all these teams are taking to try and make it towards that World Championship and the SPL Phase 2 that's happening right now. But the important stuff is here in the middle, that placement week. Only 4 teams can make it from the minor league. That's 2 from each region. That's why making it to those top 2 spots are so critical. And then from there in that placement week, they're going to be battling to try and make it to the World Championship that's happening on the 15th through the 17th. So this is huge. I mean, being able to avoid having to, or being able to make it to that placement week, so you can try and make your way in to the World Championship. That's what these minor league players have been playing for all year long. So let's take a look at the standings. This will show us who has a chance. Simplicity, at this point, can't be knocked out of making it to going. Even if they end 7-3, 2 teams can't tie them at 7-3, so they're either first or second. Queso, even if they make it to 6-4, wouldn't be able to pass Out Cold because of the head-to-head record. So really, this is just between Out Cold and Flashpoint for who can get that second spot. So to keep it real simple for you, Flashpoint have to win this very first game and then hope that Out Cold lose the second set. Meanwhile, Out Cold, probably the biggest team Queso fans that you could ask for right now. If Queso win this first set, then Out Cold are already in. It's basically just that simple. And Zeros, in situations like this where you're playing for a chance to make it to LAN, I mean, how intense are those matches?
It's super intense, I think. They're like, obviously Flashpoint now, if they can't show any nerves here, they really have to like perform the best, and like even if they do win, they still rely on Out Cold to lose. So like, yeah, rough for them, but we'll see.
They're no longer in complete control of their own fate at this point. They kind of have to hope that Simplicity, who really can't improve their standing all that much, show up and beat an Out Cold team that's going to be fighting for their lives later on. They kind of lost a little bit of that earlier on when they had their slump. And that's something you were talking to me about, is that you feel like Flashpoint are a little bit kind of on the downswing here a little bit, that Queso might actually be slightly favored even in a match that doesn't particularly help them.
Yeah, I think Flashpoint lost their 2 last sets, right? And hasn't looked like super great. Like we even saw Dzoni or Johnny lose on Wukong last week, I think. Yeah. So you know it's not good then.
That's the signature pick for them that finally got shut down the last time that they played. So we are moving into a huge match in the SML EU. Flashpoint, keeping it simple, need to win to keep their chance to make it in. So let's see if they can do that here. Flashpoint in the first pick spot. Team Queso will be getting that all-important 10th pick, that counter pick all the way at the end of the draft. And right at the gate, Flashpoint are banning some of the top-tier stuff like the ISIS instead of making Queso do it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird to me, like seeing teams first ban ISIS when they're first pick, because I feel like ISIS have had so much success whenever she's picked. So if you're first pick, why not try to grab it yourself?
I agree, man. It feels like she's one of those picks that just wins games. Her objective control, her 3v3 fight, even when she rotates in from the side lane, she's at such a significant advantage. They banned the tier away as well, but Wukong is open here in this big game.
Is open here.
Persephone open as well. Do they take that here?
Is this the patch where she's buffed, by the way?
Beautiful.
This is on the live current patch.
This is okay. That makes sense with the tier ban then as well. Okay, they pick Morrigan over Persephone. That's pretty interesting.
Wow, Morrigan over Persephone and Morrigan over a potential Wukong here as well. We'll see if this is indeed going to be enough here for them as Xing comes in for Team Queso. He's been played a lot more lately in that support role here in particular. Are you as high on Xing as a lot of other people seem to be?
He's definitely good. I'm not sure if his first pick worth it good. Same with Susano. I feel like there's 2 solid picks, but like Persephone is open air, like.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that we're not seeing her being particularly valued here right now. Jing has been picked up here as well by Flashpoint, but a lot of the good stuff, the Amaterasu, the Set, the Tier, the Ice, the Thor, has all been banned out. So now we are seeing still really good picks, but maybe not some of that really great stuff that we normally see. They're going to pair that Jing with the Jormungandr. So between this Morrigan and this Jorm, they've got some pretty good dive potential.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of weird draft, I must say. Do like the Jormungandr pick for Flashpoint, though. Jorm is really good against Morrigan, because obviously he detects stealth whenever he goes down to the ground with his free. So right. I like them picking that, and obviously Morrigan is always good, but still kind of weird not seeing Persephone here.
Yeah, Thoth hasn't been picked. Neither has Horus. I thought he was someone that was being valued a lot more here lately. No Gebs or Khepris. Those are some supports that have been really sought after here lately. Also not being valued as Queso take this time to ban away a ton of picks from Johnny, but still none of them are the Wukong. It looks like Queso are ready for that potential little pocket pick for Flashpoint to come out here instead of banning it.
Yeah, I don't know how much success Sony has had with Wukong, because like when all the rings got nerfed, the Grip, Telecast, or I'm not sure if you can call it nerf, but all the movements being got removed, and I feel like that was a big nerf for Wukong, as Wukong also took a nerf with his normal ability. So I really don't think he's a top tier pick. So like even if Johnny plays it, I don't think that God is good enough right now.
Well, there you go. Maybe that pocket pick from him has been kind of removed. Instead, he'll be relying on the Bastet. This is a Scream special up in the SPL, something that he likes to play, but I think Johnny can use this too. It's a pick that once it gets some items online, can 1 or 2 tap you, can remove you quite quickly. This is a playmaking god, the kind of thing that Johnny would like.
Yeah, for sure. Brings no CC though, and I'm pretty sure Susano has a kind of decent matchup as well against Bastet, because like, if Bastet gets hit by the freeze, she can't jump back because he can't follow you, right? And like, we'll see. There's the buffed Kukulkan as well.
Olara not being valued up until this point here either. A lot of tops tier stuff kind of feels like it fell to the wayside here as Kukulkan comes through, as you mentioned, has been buffed recently. As a mid laner yourself, you think Kukulkan should be getting more play here now?
I mean, we saw it in SPL pre-buff, so obviously probably doing pretty well. We'll see.
Well, Flashpoint need to win this set to keep their chances alive of making it to that placement week. Let's see if they can get it done in game 1.
Thanks a lot, boys. Great job on the desk. My name is Tom Battinger, and I'm going to be joined here by somebody whose name is Ryan Agro Bailey. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well, man. Big day for the SMITE Minor League today.
And of course, all 2 of us are going to be joined by a third, Doug LeBlanc. And you're right, it is a big day. We still don't know who's going to be going to almost the World Championships. The placement stage, as John Finch kind of laid out for you guys, is on the line. Flashpoint, they really need to win.
And they need it bad because Queso, I mean, even though they're tied in the standings between Flashpoint and Queso, the head-to-head is out Cold's way against Team Queso. Not the case up against Flashpoint. And this is not a good start for them because Dracomarino just walked in and stole away speed. This is one of Bastet's, frankly, many weaknesses, is that her buff secure is very, very bad. She's got damage, but not a whole lot of it in bursts in the early game.
It's interesting to me to see Johnny go into the Bastet direction. Dracomarino, one of my favorite players. Look at that. I mean, just able to sneak his way out of there. Nice immunity frames on the little flip to avoid Fusify here. But Johnny, hard carry of Flashpoint for sure. Flashpoint, a real legacy team. A lot of teams in SMITE have kind of evolved. I don't want to say evolved, but have changed their playstyle to be more roundabout. Flashpoint, don't get me wrong, FaraKrik, Fusify, Kespainify, this is a strong team. But Johnny is absolutely the guy that kind of brings home the bacon, so to speak. So, why the Bastet pick?
I mean, it's good late game, and that's kind of been Johnny's calling card as a player. It's not auto attack based, which I think is something that Johnny has particularly excelled at, but it kind of plays in the same gameplay patterns that a lot of auto attack assassins do in the later stages. You kind of weave in and out of the team fights, you look for your opportunities in a similar fashion. And so by that stretch, you might be able to get it working. I don't hate it.
I actually really like it. I think it fits Johnny's playstyle very, very well. True assassin, as you said, weave in and out. Do you see parallels, and I understand this is a stretch, but you know me, do you see parallels with Wukong at all?
No. I mean, not really. It both pretty good late game, both have sneaky good mid games, but I think you can say that for a lot of different assassins.
That's fair.
They're similar in the sense that they both are assassins, and that's kind of where the similarities end as far as the kit goes.
Yeah, I feel like it's the play style, kind of like staying on the outside until you're all in, and then jumping out. So I'm excited to see this pick for Johnny. I think it makes sense for him. Draco's going to look for the speed buff one more time and likely miss it. Nice job. And Johnny and FaraKrik able to confirm that for themselves in the early game. So again, don't expect much out of the Catman here in the early stages. That said, Team Queso should look to take advantage of it. Nice hit. And Warchi finds the double shot there.
That was cute.
I'm looking at WorstTurttle. You are in a world where Johnny is not going to be as active as you can be. The Susano player. Make the moves. Not seeing the invades. We're just seeing the group up in mid lane. I'll be honest, Agro. I want to see more aggression.
I mean, he's getting so much solo farm because Draco is forcing Johnny and Flashpoint to share a lot of Johnny's farm. I mean, it's two-way splitting the speed buff. Doesn't even get the first one. He has to triple split reds. I mean, that's where WorstTurttle is able to come in and make a really big impact, is that, look, he's level 5, and Johnny just recently hit level 3 because of all the sharing that Dracomarino's forced him to do. Now WorstTurttle can start to make an impact being level 5.
Fusify caught in some trouble. The ultimate will not come up and put him in the passive. And Warchi from a distance will have 4 shots left. FaraKrik going to block it. The passive for the Kumbhakarna will save him. No first blood. You'll love to see it.
Good team play by FaraKrik. I mean, Warchi can't really get in there and dive a tower for that. Dracomarino can't really get in there to CC him off of him, so that's the best that you can hope for in that situation. But this is still going exactly according to plan for Queso, and I love that they're playing so aggressively in this mid 3v3, because normally they've got Chekio over there in the long lane as their ADC, but Creed stepping in today, a long-time player with these guys.
Yep.
He's not always a starter for them. I'm interested to see how he's able to do on a pick that I'm curious how good this Kukulkan really is. We started to see a little bit pre-buff. Venenu was pulling it out at the SPL level. I think he has gotten noticeably better, but I think that he was pretty poor before that, so
yeah.
I don't know that noticeably better is enough to get him to see play all the time. So I'm curious. I'm excited about this pick.
I will tell you, I think the carry role is perfect for Kukulkan. I think putting him in the mid lane is haphazard. There's a lot going on there, and the Kukulkan is the character that needs to kind of bake up in the oven over there in the long lane. It is, as we've seen the kind of, well, we moved away from Hunters completely. Now we've kind of moved back. Now it's 70-30 Hunters to Mages, I'd almost say.
I think it's even closer.
Yeah.
I think it might be 50-50. It might be in Mage's favor as of late. I mean, this build of the
Week to week, man.
Yeah, it does change week to week very much. There's no doubt.
With that in mind, I think Kukulkan is one of the mages that would make me play a mage in that long lane. Unsafe, but woof. Late game, getting hit for 1,400 by Spirit of the Nine Winds.
Yeah, my
If you hit it.
My thing is, you do that even in mid. That ultimate is so bonkers in the damage department that it doesn't matter if you're behind by that much. It still does those numbers.
Sure.
And the character is so feast or famine, and it's so easy to miss that ultimate or get it dodged or Aegis or whatever, that I think I kind of want more guaranteed damage over there in the long lane. It's a bit too risky.
Johnny right now going all in with a nice ultimate coming out from WorstTurttle will separate the two teammates. Dracomarino barely alive, but barely is still alive. No first blood, no kills for either team. Invade coming out from Queso, not what they had expected.
That was a really nice job by Warchi. I mean, his sons were solid in that area, but also his save of the ricochet in order to double bounce the cats
Yeah,
was huge.
that's a kill.
Nope, one dot short.
Got me. Sue just boots online, and WorstTurttle punishes Fusify and gets the first blood there for Team Queso. Unexpected, but it does go the way of the red team. And that Bastet damage is tricky. That will amp up very, very quickly. One of the few characters, as we said, no crowd control, no burst damage. So what is the upside? She scales insane.
Yeah, I mean, in the late game, she gets really good burst damage between the 1 and the 3. It's just in the early game, those are not great at securing buffs, is really her big weakness. But burst damage as a whole is something that she can definitely provide later on when you start maxing Pounce, when you start maxing that Declaw. I mean, those are really good burst abilities for sure. It just, one of them puts you in a bad spot and Pounce. Yes, you can bounce back, but
love it.
It's right back towards where everyone expects you to be. It's telegraphed and not super easy. I like the idea of the Morrigan plus Bastet combo. I mean, Dark Omen does good burst damage when popped by another ability. You add that into some of the Bastet burst that, I mean, you're going to half-health someone with just a 2 from Morrigan and a 3 from Bastet. And if Johnny's able to actually pounce in and then use the Razor Whip, then, I mean, that could nearly kill Warchi.
Queso again looking for a blue buff invade. Dracomarino zoning Fusify. WorstTurttle zoning Sibi. And Julio able to grab that one. Sibi will be here on the big worm guy. But I'm a big fan of watching what the Bastet pick because of the mobility out of Queso. A lot of times Susano is just able to get out of trouble where he normally shouldn't, and the dots will take care of him. Fusify looking towards the mid lane, Warchi in trouble. 3 dots are good. That time, it's a kill for Johnny. Fusify likely to change. And the 1-for-1 will be good. WorstTurttle on the other hand, stunned and done. Kespainify off of the hit from FaraKrik. Nice setup. And Fuse...
Almost got out.
I had written him off. I guess the yawn kept slow-handed support player Dracomarino at bay for the moment, but the tower does finish off Fusify.
I love FaraKrik's choice of the Guan Yu early on. I mean, there isn't a slam dunk transformation in this game.
Yeah.
You're a very good one, but not necessarily the premier one you want in the early game. This Guan Yu selection that FaraKrik has been consistently turning into has proven problematic so far for Queso. It got him away right around this area of the map on his back harpies in an early skirmish. Right as soon as he hit level 5, and right there he was able to stun out and CC chain WorstTurttle, where it looked like he was going to be able to get a potential multi-kill situation. So this Morrigan selection has worked out well so far for Flashpoint. That's usually the end-all be-all of when you have the Morrigan on your team. How well will your Morrigan play? Because if they don't play well, then it's going to be hard to win.
FaraKrik, not somebody that I usually expect to play poorly. I'll be honest with you. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to make his way over to LAN last time around. So hopefully if Flashpoint is able to confirm their trip, the whole squad's able to come, because this is a fun team to watch. Like I said, kind of old school style, the way they all support Johnny, but it's new school style in the sense that, I mean, FaraKrik can and will carry these games as well. Johnny, a little sleepy game at 5-4-5, and then you look at FaraKrik's 12-2. Oopsie daisy. I'm supposed to support my star jungle player, right? Nah, Flashpoint finds wins kind of all across the board, and FaraKrik's a big part of that. Morrigan, a big brain type character. FaraKrik sitting on the brain throne. I'm a fan.
Not finishing off the Doom Orb, though, and I am not a fan of this. I think that Doom Orb, when completed, is so strong. Yeah, Curse Orb's good, but it's really good because it keeps your power level safe while you're building into the Doom Orb. I mean, that's part of what makes it strong.
Fusify again looking towards the middle lane. Johnny will drop the dots, but jump on away. WorstTurttle not hurt as much as they wanted. Meanwhile, here comes Dracomarino under the tower, tosses one, and Fusify deleted. You call that a CC combo or just a damage combo? Bad way to enter, boys. Flashpoint in trouble as they look towards the mid lane. WorstTurttle gets the follow-up kill as FaraKrik plays with fire and gets burned. Flashpoint down 2 kills.
Now Sibi could be next just in time on that World Serpent ultimate, but Queso have already put themselves in a great spot, but WorstTurtle can't get caught here.
Oh, the cats are going to surround. Dots won't be enough to take care of the Susano. The cats will be killed by Julio. Johnny now no jump to his name, trying to dodge and weave as Julio shows up. Dash and bash. Number 5 for Team Queso. Across the way, Queso's looking at a Gold Fury and
they've got
finding it. That is a sequence.
It is a great sequence for Queso. I mean, they do everything right, and it really starts off with a bad choice of fight by Fusify. I mean, there is no way you've got the damage to kill WorstTurtle from full HP with a Morrigan Bastet at level 9. I mean, that's just not what the composition excels at. We want to wait until later. Fusify hits the gas a little bit too early, and then Dracomarino's there to capitalize. A really sick Typhoon from WorstTurtle. That extra damage that he got from knocking up both FaraKrik and Johnny ends up really ultimately killing them both later on as he was able to find that chase down. Well done by all of Queso.
After all said and done, Team Queso leading here by about 2,500. 3 kills as well. Just 12 minutes in here. We talked about how important it was for Flashpoint to win this one, and I like the draft, Ryan. I really do. I think the Flashpoint, Bastet included, I think this is a good draft for players that can play these characters well as far as their playstyle is concerned. But big picture, they are playing the composition incorrectly. Middle lane, they look to change that. Warchi jumps away, Fusify after chase, and here's Dracomarino one more time. Johnny avoids it. There's the dot damage, baby. Number 3 for Flashpoint. And FaraKrik gets on out of there with the help of the Guan Yu, as you celebrated earlier on. I think that's kind of what's going to happen. The later this game goes, Flashpoint will be more successful because the way they're playing it now isn't a great look, but when they have the numbers, it'll work out.
Not working out for FaraKrik at the mid lane as he got crushed by WorstTurtle. That was his beads as well, but it didn't end up mattering. WorstTurtle is still doing the thing, man, because this early start, look at his XP per minute. He is way ahead right now of Johnny, and he's you can tell.
I mean, that's the game plan here. Team Queso on the Susano jungle is just going to be more active, or can be more active, excuse me, than the Bastet. Flashpoint has attempted to make Johnny as active as WorstTurttle, and that's what I meant by playing the composition wrong. Right now, Flashpoint should probably just be head down, farming, trying to deny invades, of course, but I don't think that Johnny and FaraKrik can do what WorstTurttle and Warchi can do at 13 minutes.
Just feels like Flashpoint needed to be counterpunching in some way, though, because Warchi's had so much pressure, has been so far pushed up in these lanes that if you just continue to let Queso push you under tower, deny you gold, get tower poke, that leads to invades that you can't really defend against. I don't mind Flashpoint being aggressive around the mid lane, but it's just the circumstances of this start mean that WorstTurttle is going to do so much more.
See, I feel like the aggression has invited Team Queso to do that sort of stuff. We're watching Fusify ult Warchi on Warchi's side of the lane.
Well, yeah, that was just a bad ult, and they lost the fight really hard for it. But, I mean, the last engagement near mid, yes, WorstTurttle does end up getting the kill later on, but I don't think those are necessarily related, except in the sense that FaraKrik's ult was down when he was using it, but didn't really need to. That's really more a story of a wasted ultimate by FaraKrik than anything else.
Yeah, I'm there for that. It's largely, what I'm getting at is I think the starting, it's so dangerous. Starting options for Flashpoint have invited Queso to be aggressive like this. Again, Fusify walks in, and again, Fusify gets shut down. Oof. I mean, that's 3 times you lose it, right? Tic-tac-toe. You got all X'd up, man. I think Fusify needs to stay away. Johnny getting towered over here. FaraKrik will look for the help. And WorstTurttle able to maneuver away from the Julio impersonator. Flashpoint don't lose much except for ultimates there, but Queso showing how willing they are to go hard, and they should. 3,000 gold is that moment where you look to really make that punch.
Certainly in a good spot for them right now. Their mid-game composition is very strong. This Kukulkan is really fed right now. I mean, level 16, and so is Kespainify. And he's going to be a problem whenever he rotates in. Queso's going to have to account for him, but just doesn't feel like he might have that same ability to change the outcome of the game like a Spirit of the Nine Winds really can.
Even a well-placed tornado denying entrances between Warchi and Creed, Team Queso will be able to dictate where Flashpoint can walk on the map in the jungle for the very least. So with that in mind, Flashpoint have to be slippery. Red buff spawning. Draco thought about it, but it's all FPs, no problem.
Finally, Johnny's at least hit level 12 to the point where you can get a second relic. Doesn't get Aegis. Sometimes Bastets won't go blink because you have the ability to pounce in and out to get yourself into the engagement while not full committing.
Right.
But Johnny decides to go for the different option and goes for the blink this time around just to try and get on top of Warchi, I think, and Creed. And the Kukulkan pick's actually pretty sick here because remember, Slither, everyone thinks that this ability is really bad and one of the worst in the game. And I really don't think it is. I mean, this ability is pretty solid. I mean, 80% movement speed is just insane. And he gets slow immunity.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And 4 seconds is a long time.
Right now, is surrounded by 3, probably a different story, but Aegis is good enough. Fusify knocks him to the sky, and WorstTurttle will knock him the jungler, and that keeps Johnny at bay. Fusify gets the kill, but will be traded out as WorstTurttle can't find the valuable target and puts down the support. FaraKrik looking for the mid laner. WorstTurttle will die. Johnny with the last hit, and here comes rotation all the way from the right-hand side. Dracomarino and FaraKrik dealing with Team Queso, pushing them out. It's a 2-for-1. And that's the first team fight. Flashpoint seems to have won all game.
Creed just got a little bit caught off guard. Not a whole lot of great ward vision by Queso on this right-hand side, specifically on their side of the map. They've got aggressive wards, but not defensive wards, and Flashpoint is not a good angle in.
You know, and I hate that happened just as you brought up the positives of the Kukulkan, because Flashpoint just had the numbers like they do now. 4-on-2, Sibi spinning, zoning 2, but here comes Kespainify and FaraKrik. Somebody's got to die, and Johnny is going to make it Warchi, and Johnny is going to make it Julio. The double kill for the Catman. Ties it up at 8-all. 1,000 gold separate the teams, and Flashpoint going to look to tie it up with an Oni Fury. And that should do it. Creed's here. Ultimate available. Ultimate too late.
Close. That was really close. I mean, this is kind of the story of Queso this year, isn't it? That they do a lot of things really well in the early game, and they get kind of caught off guard. They take a couple bad fights. I mean, there's no reason for Julio to be sticking around on left side mid harpies and fighting Sibi. I mean, you're either giving up gold there or you aren't. But if you aren't giving up gold, then you've got to let them pull it. You've got to let them put themselves in position. Where they were fighting is so much better for Flashpoint. Yes, it's a little bit closer to Queso's tower, but it's a very narrow corridor. You can spread them out pretty well around the wall. I mean, Dzoni finds a really good angle in that you can't have warded, which is a lane. Just a odd decision to fight there, it feels like, from Team Queso. And now that lead that WorstTurttle had, gone. Dzoni's 6-1. He got a multi-kill there. He's doing plenty of damage. He's got the itemization online. FaraKrik has a really good initiation, and now it has a little bit of momentum. I mean, this is not a great position now for Queso to be in, and it really was a great position for them just a little bit ago.
Warchi gonna hunt down Dzoni. Dzoni does some damage on the other side. Draco won't catch him. But I mean, that's we watching a team be down 2,000 to 3,000 with a late game comp. That's SMITE, baby. Yeah. Flashpoint played incorrectly. I'm not trying to take that away from them. They earned their negative merit badge, so to speak. But this is where their comp feels a little bit more comfortable. 4 items in on a Bastet that scales at 100%. Gonna do a little bit more work than the Bastet with 1 item. Ultimate pop for the Pyromancer, and now Flashpoint gonna look to collapse on Team Queso. Queso at the numbers, it's a 2-on-4 as Fusify has fallen. Kespainify zoned out for the rest of the fight, now catching up, finally able to find the shots, and they matter. Big crits put Warchi in the ground, looking towards the right-hand side. Kespainify dealing with Julio. Now WorstTurttle being dealt on by Fusify, and Sibi's here flipping the river. But it's all about Dzoni on the flank, blink forward. Caps are good. WorstTurttle gets healed by Julio, but there's the damage. 1 for Sibi, 1 for FaraKrik, and Dzoni will pick one up as well. Creed on the run. Kespainify looking for the last shot, but it's all Sibi. Double kill, deicide, and then some. Where are they going?
Fire Giant. That's an easy call for Flashpoint. They've got no one to worry about. I mean, look, Queso do the right thing. They secure the objective. Everyone's feeling okay about it. But Fusify getting hit by that Spear of the 9 Winds, I think actually baits Flashpoint, or Queso rather, into a pretty bad fight. I mean, Fusify falls down early, but we used both of our carries ults on him individually, just him. Creed and Warchi's ultimates only covered the enemy support, and he's Kumbha. He's got Kumbha passive. Then, Julio standing around trying to auto-attack him. Dracomarino considers it. By that time, Warchi's already half HP, basically dead. He's using Aegis as Julio turns to heal him, and so he doesn't even get the heal. I mean, just a really discombobulated fight for Queso, and Flashpoint have so much mobility in their team fight. I mean, between the World Serpent, Dzoni being able to blink and pounce, FaraKrik, his mobility and that stealth. I mean, it's just too much to account for in an area where you don't have a whole lot of wards if you're Queso. In fact, I don't know if you have any wards past again, on your half of the map. Queso's been warding aggressively, but not defensively. And every time Flashpoint's been going on the offensive, they've really taken advantage of that.
Poor target prioritization as well. Queso had a 4-on-2. Kespainify zoned out and Fusify down on the ground. If Queso focus, they're probably gonna kill before those players get involved. Julio making mistakes, just calling a spade, and Flashpoint get their 2 towers in the mid lane. Phoenix wouldn't have been an option if it was a 5-on-5, I think. With Julio down, Flashpoint willing to push. If he goes into the World Serpent, able to zone a little bit. The carries can't get involved.
Warchi does a nice job of zoning with that ultimate because Creed's Whirlwind was down. Now should be back up.
There's a blink in. Dzoni avoids the ultimate on the Spear of the 9 Winds. Creed still gets Fusify, but FaraKrik grabs the support player. Everybody going down, and this could be it. Mid lane Phoenix is standing for the moment. 50 seconds on 2 players. Warchi being chased, and wow, big damage out of Warchi. Dzoni puts them all down, and Julio's up, but I don't know if it's enough.
I mean, he gets his ult back up, but Kespainify does a really good job of splitting off from the rest of the team. He's the DPS that needs to stay alive right here, and Flashpoint, their hopes stay alive. Again, they need to win this set if they want to be coming to land.
Looking like a team that shook off some of the rust in the early stages, made some mistakes. As I said, they just played their comp the same way all the way through and hit their stride, their strength of the comp mid and late game. Early game, they tried to do what they tried to do late game, but they just didn't have the stats.
I mean, Queso's 3v3 in mid was outright better, both in terms of actual characters that they were playing and their ability to execute really well. Their communication seemed to be a little bit better. But when you got your sub coming in, Creed starts joining these team fights a little bit harder. Julio had a really rough time in those team fights. Maybe Ty had put him on the tier, though. I don't think he's going to get that these days. The tier buff actually hurting Queso by that measure.
One game down and Flashpoint look up. Back to you guys on the desk.
That is a huge win, though, for Flashpoint. They need this set victory to give themselves a chance to try and make it to the placement week. Then they got to hope, obviously, for Out Cold later on to lose. But they have started off doing the right thing by grabbing this victory in zeros. It didn't really look like they were in control at the beginning of this game. Actually, Queso had a really good start to this. It looked a bit like Johnny was struggling some, but they managed to turn things around.
Yeah, sure. Looked super rough for them in the start. They lost the speed buff, and Johnny was super far behind. I think it was level 3 or something when Susano was level 5 or level 6, and it looked really rough for them early game. They were kind of losing. Whenever they would fight, they would lose most of the fight as well, but then after some good team fights, they turned it around and got the win. So.
Yeah, that fight around the left side of the map was really huge too. They started it off by getting a kill on the Creed, and you heard them mentioning it. That's another thing to mention is that Queso's playing without Chekio. It's Creed that's in that spot, but they got that kill to him in the left lane, and then they got a really nice Morrigan kill on the WorstTurttle right behind that, and I feel like that fight kind of started their momentum.
Yeah, for sure. Also at the match, super impressive by Dzoni here. I think he was super far behind, but he really turned around. He was super fed at the end of the game and did so much work in this team fight. So such a player on the rise.
It really did help them out a lot. And then Kespainify kind of sealing the deal for them here with this last fight around the FG. This is when they went from even to basically taking control of the game. And once this Jing was able to start getting in the thick of things, doing unchecked damage, I mean, he was a good bit ahead of Creed for most of the game, about a level or so. When they finally rotated over, got that kill on the left side, that accelerated Kespainify in a big way.
Yeah, you really see the strengths of having a hunter in the dual lane rather than a mage, though. When you come into this team fight, you can go crit and you just do so much damage. So good to have an ADC in the dual lane if you don't get put behind early game.
Kespainify 3-0-12, not a bad slash line to end it on at all for him. And Team Queso, who really, don't have a whole lot to play for here, still came out and very nearly upset Flashpoint at game number 1, even without Chekio, their main roster member, playing with them. But Flashpoint, I'm sure, will not be complaining about how they get this win. It's just a matter of if they can, and then they'll be rooting for simplicity a little bit later on. So now if you're Queso after that game, what are the adjustments you're trying to make here? Do you think that's picks and bans? Do you think it's just execution? Because they were ahead at the beginning of this game. It feels like you just got to make sure you buckle down in the mid game.
Yeah, sure. I think, honestly, they can just run back whatever they did. I think, honestly, they probably don't care too much. They can't make it anymore anyway. So, for them, this game, honestly, won't matter too much, I think. But, I mean, I think after losing the first game, after having such a good early game as they did, I think they might just, have fun with this last game and maybe pick some weird picks and stuff here.
There's certainly a chance that could happen here as we start to get ready for the picks and bans for game number 2. One thing that we did also talk about there is that this Bastet isn't a particularly popular pick right now. We have seen Scream play it, but clearly it's something that Johnny's comfortable on. Even if he doesn't have the Wukong, even if he banned away 2 of his hyper carries from the jungle, it looks like he'll be able to play just about anything and still have that impact for his team.
Yeah, but I guess his playstyle, it seems like he likes this assassins that has a lot of damage, doesn't rely too much on CC, same with the Wukong, right? Doesn't really rely on CC, it's just hard damage, and he does really well with it. So
that's right. I mean, he likes the Kalis and Bakasuras and stuff too, not typically known for their setup like maybe a Thor or something like that. So I agree, he is purely looking to try and be the one that finishes off those kills. We'll see if that continues to be a strategy going forward as Flashpoint ban the tier, not just a really strong god right now, but also one of Julio's favorite picks. That's a great first ban from them.
Yeah, for sure. Has to be banned. I think we're gonna see a tier ban a lot, even probably against any team right now. He's so good now with the buffs.
Yeah, sometimes you get those tiers that are doing really well. Sometimes you get the tiers that are doing 12k damage for you in a really long game and not helping you win your games at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when Aggro played tier for you.
let's not talk about that. He's gonna be perma tilted for the whole day. So still kind of Amy goes through her super strong first pick, obviously, but still kind of weird to not see Persephone. I mean, she did get nerfed, but I've been playing her a bit, and she still feels just as strong, I think. So
I'm a bit surprised too. I mean, I mentioned it last time. We're not really seeing the Ola run at this point here either. So it does seem as though there's some top-tier mages in particular that are not being valued. I wonder if these two teams, maybe those aren't in their wheelhouse or if something else is going on. But the Amaterasu, as you said, certainly still strong enough in its own right, and they're going to pair the Khepri with it. Not a bad first two picks for Queso at all.
that's a really solid front line. I wish to see the Khepri with Blink early game here for some
Yes,
early
for the
game.
Blink of Duck,
Like
yeah.
good initiate too, but like Amy Khepri, that's such a good front line to have. Like they can do both. They can play initiate, they can also play with the backline if they want to peel. So like super solid front line.
Well, Flashpoint have the Jormungandr and the Thor, so the idea from them is going to be able to dive whoever's back there. That's why I'm glad they got this Chernobog. He can have some decent mobility. He can hide inside the wall. You feel like he should be fairly safe even against all this dive here from Flashpoint?
Yeah, I mean Chernobog especially is super safe again. You can even dash into the 4 wall and stay in there if you want to.
Sure.
Like super safe. And obviously when Jorm starts ulting and starts dunking you can just go into a wall and avoid a lot of that damage as well. So Chernobog always safe. It's just with the Chernobog mid, I feel like you do lack a lot of the pressure early game because his wave clear is not great
Sure.
and his fighting is not great either. So I hope to see the Chernobog in dual lane.
He's so reliant, it feels like, on that root in those little skirmishes to be able to get his value. If he doesn't have that, then he can be a little bit underwhelming. Thoth and Unbot's banned away by Flashpoint. Meanwhile, Queso not really taking an eye towards that many junglers this time with the Thor already on the table. That makes some sense. Instead, they'll ban away the Kukulkan. Despite Creed not looking great on it, it looks like they still value this pick.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just an annoying god to play against in general. Like, especially when it comes to like defense and stuff. He's so good at defending.
Sure.
It's, like he one-shots the creep wave, and then like he always has the potential of hitting some of the backline with his ult, and that's just. Oh, Janus.
Whoa,
It's been a while.
Yeah, we do not see Janus much anymore here at all. The Sun Wukong coming through. They've already got the Ama and the Khepri, so I imagine then this must be Sun Wukong in the jungle, perhaps, and then they'll have this Janus in the middle lane. Why do you think we haven't seen as much Janus here lately?
I think it's like he's not that great at fighting early game. His wave play is not great. But then again, they have so much global pressure with Janus and Chernobog, and they're so fast as well. They have the Janus thresholds with the Amy speed aura. Queso's comp is so fast, and a lot of global pressure on the top of that.
Well, let's see if they can use that rotational ability, or will Flashpoint keep their chances of making it to land alive.
Welcome back, folks. Game numero dos, and it's going to be WorstTurttle on the Janus Jungle, one of Zero's favorites. I imagine he remembers, but way back when, Season 0, Season 1, stepped in, played with the Reels on SK, and played in the jungle, exclusively mages. Janus, Vulcan, and then they went, do you just want to play mid? And he said, okay. But he started on the Janus Jungle.
Yeah, that was a different time.
Cherio did it last year.
then.
We saw some Janus Jungle last year.
That is true also.
And
What was the record of that Janus jungle last year?
well, irrelevant. But we see it again
Is it
here.
irrelevant?
No, not at all. It's actually extremely relevant to the conversation. I'm trying to avoid the facts. But here with the WorstTurttle on the Janus, it's interesting. I think that the jungle position is it's an enigma. It can be active and look for ganks and look to be active, or it can just hide and farm and see later. Janus jungle? Question mark. Janus later on. Nice facility.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, once you get to the late game and laning is no longer an issue, then it doesn't matter where you started.
Exactly.
That is certainly true. But oftentimes it does matter where you start, because the game can be decided by the time that you decide to group up as 5. And it's not just the Janus jungle, it's this Ama ADC. How well is this going to work? I mean, it could be okay. I guess it's not that different from Ama solo.
The Amaterasu carry is the one that I actually have more issue with Ama carry than I do the Janus jungle.
I do not. I would much rather have Ama carry than Janus jungle, because you already have a hunter in the comp anyways. You have Warchi on the mid lane Chernobog, so your typical ADC jobs of killing towers, phoenixes, of DPSing objectives, all of those are still available to you. So I've got no problem with it. It's just that how well can this Janus actually keep up and farm? Can he clear the jungle camps fast enough? I mean, that's the big problem.
Well, look at the scaling. Let's take a look at the scaling of Magical Mirror here. The first ability, obviously, is the heal, but here you get 60%. You get 60% on the mirror, on the dash. How much scaling do you get? I believe it's going to be on 60 as well. And then the ultimate is
150.
Yeah, sure.
Right, but also the base damage is what's important here. You don't need damage. Like, you don't need to be building damage on this character.
Which is kind of my point. I want characters in the long lane that will make use of the gold that they get. I guess you're saying that they make use of the experience as well.
Sure, yeah, its experience is more important, and then Creed should be building like a solo laner in my mind. I mean, I don't think that he should be going for Crusher or, God forbid, the stone-cutting sword.
Transcendence?
No, I don't need any of that. You don't need it. You do so much damage anyways. You just want to stay in fights as long as possible because your aura is worth more damage to your team than your damage ever will be.
Will there be enough damage on the map for Queso, though?
Yeah, once everyone's level 20 and six items, their composition is just pretty normal. I mean, they're lacking an assassin, but that's okay. You don't always need one. I mean, your backline dive is really solid between the Ama and the Sun Wukong. You've got good peel, courtesy of the Khepri. I mean, all of those things equal out to a pretty good composition.
Julio under duress under the tower. That's 2, and he should be fine after the fact. Non-traditional mage as well. Janus doesn't, Janus is very different from Poseidon in the sense that you only got one damaging ability, etc., etc. I feel like, and I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I think that this Amaterasu carry will present an issue for Queso where they lack damage because they also have a Janus in the jungle. I think I'm down for one of them. Both of them in the same composition strikes me oddly. Warchi looking to strike hotly on the right-hand side. Sibi slowed. Julio might go down first, but the ultimate is strong. There's the kill. And the shot after it. An interesting dunk.
I mean, first blood, it's worth a little bit. Fusify messes up the blink, so he doesn't get the mez onto WorstTurttle, and that means this Janus is out of there. I mean, Julio rather just decides that we're both going to die. I'm going to get first blood gold. Sibi won't. Also, it's a matter of how many assists you dole out is also somewhat relevant, and you get more assists for Queso because there were 3 people there as opposed to just having Johnny and Sibi there. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a fine call.
The 1-for-1 exchange will leave Queso in the lead by about the first blood bounty. So that's absolutely relevant. Julio on the Sun Wukong. Character that refuses to go away. No matter what meta, somebody will always try and play the Sun Wukong. We've seen it jungle, we've seen it middle lane even, we've seen it carry, shout outs to Day to Remember. We've seen it kind of everywhere. Flashpoint seeing Team Queso in their front garden, and we'll have to walk away as Queso successfully invade that red buff. And I guess really what I'm getting at here, Ryan, is that Creed's choice always just seems, Amaterasu just seems more defensive than some of the other options you could put in there, but Amaterasu is just dummy strong right now is the thought.
Yeah, exactly. Warchi's dead if FaraKrik is accurate, but he is not. Shell was there just in case, so he would have survived. But that was a good ultimate by Draco because Warchi actually got his dash caught by Fusify's Mesmerize, so that was well done on both sides, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm down to put Ama on my team.
Same, yeah.
I don't like her jungle.
Same.
So
let me.
Here's
why
the thing.
Don't you like her? Okay.
Because she doesn't. Her damage is built into the base kit. You're trapped into building damage in the jungle, so you can clear fast enough. It makes you really squishy. You're better in solo. Why does Julio need to play Wukong this game? That's my question.
Why can't that be a more aggressive pick?
Why can't that just be Ama? Why do you need to put the Ama elsewhere? Just put the Ama in solo.
Kespainify 2-on-1. Warchi here. Little blink from Fusify. That'll keep everybody at a distance. And now Kespainify willing to get dirty. Warchi, the dirtiest. Johnny up top. Johnny on bot. Creed. Underground. Number 3 there for Flashpoint. Nice job from Kespainify. And the assist from Johnny. That is classic Thor play. Just all down. Nice job.
And Creed has gotten teleport. He's playing this like a solo lane, and don't forget he's a sub for this team. Historically has been a solo laner, if my memory serves. So this is where he feels a little bit more comfortable, but the reason you put the Warriors in the 1v1 against each other in the short lane is because it's easier for them to get away from things like getting Thor dunked and rotated on whenever everyone comes over.
You bring up a good point. Creed, traditionally a solo laner. I think that's the core of this conversation. I think it's just Creed's comfortable playing the Amaterasu, less so some of the other selections. We saw Creed on an oddball pick last time around, didn't really work out.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, the only point where I would say that this might be your optimal team
I agree.
setup. But even then, I'm not super excited about it.
Because I'm down to see the aggressive, you know me, I hate the classes. I'm down to see aggressive warriors here. The Sun Wukong for Remember worked, you know? You give me a Chalk or a Hercules or something, fine, dude. Those characters can be offensively built. We'll see. WorstTurttle right now surrounded. Able to walk out.
And that's the advantage of the Janus. No matter where you put him, he's really hard to lock down. He's slippery, man. And WorstTurtle's going for this do more build. I think I've tried a lot of do more on Janus, and I feel like it's a bit of a trap because you'd think that this item is so good on this character. It's everything he wants, right? It's no CDR, which hurts a little bit, but it's power, it's movement speed, it's MP5. It's everything that you would think Janus really wants. But Janus does the majority of his best fighting in the jungle. He wants to fight you in the jungle as often as possible. His lane fighting is downright bad a lot of the time. It's so easy to dodge an unstable vortex that you see coming. And so you kind of lose out on the do more passive when you're in the jungle trying to do all this fighting. And then when you get the do more passive, you don't want to be fighting there anyways, even with the passive. And so it's a bit of a weird situation. I think do more might be good enough that it's worth going anyways, even without worrying about the passive too much, but it is awfully expensive. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I still haven't decided if I think it's good yet.
Creed right now under duress, and I'm not impressed. Up and all the way down. Fusify with the kill. By the way, the 10-minute tower, 8:15 to be exact for that tier 1.
And look, if Creed's going to go Warrior's Blessing teleport, you've got to run it down early. Like, you have to play aggressively early. The fact that he has 8 Warrior's Blessing stacks means he's hit Kespainify 8 times in 9 minutes. That's not enough. You've got to pressure out this Chronos early. You're not doing what you need to do, I think.
Fusify could be in trouble. Nice route. Somebody will put him down.
Alt gold. Do it.
Nice job. Flashpoints send their support player out there. And they trade him for a Gold Fury. Fusify clapping super hard. You know the support clap as they die, just like, let's go. Team's doing it. That's Flashpoint right now. Feeling good about everything. One more time, folks. Flashpoint with their life on the line, trying to make it to land. If I can refresh your memory, last time around, Flashpoint denied a proper land experience. Julio finds himself looking for the enemy blue buff. Nice job. Sibi denied. And now looking for the counterpunch. That's Flashpoint coming in here. Fusify looking to root up Draco and Will. The knockup is strong.
Draco no boots. He rushed the Gauntlet of Thebes, and he's awfully techy, but can't move very well. Can't get to the portal either. Great body blocks coming from the entirety of Flashpoint. Draco does get reset a little bit too early there by FaraKrik. WorstTurttle wants to keep it going.
That's an interesting move. Ultimate, primed, and fired!
Wow, sick.
Puts down FaraKrik. If that's the way you're going to play it, I guess you can play the Janus jungle.
Sure, but I don't really know how FaraKrik gets caught off guard by that. WorstTurttle was charging that ultimate on a ward.
That's what I'm saying.
Double beads there by the carries, a little bit awkward. Speaking of awkward, tier 2 tower, gone. Kespainify out.
11 minutes, tier 2 tower.
Creed is actually in trouble and needs help from Warchi.
Draco's here as well. And similar to how I feel when a support player dies for Gold Fury worth, if your carry's gonna die for a tower, it's all contextual.
Sure.
If your carry is going to die for a tier 2 tower at 11 minutes,
sign me up.
Yeah, I'm absolutely there. What I was getting at before with Flashpoint, they need to win this one in order to keep their land dreams alive. And if I'm Flashpoint, I'm sending Queso a thank you card. This is a bad draft. I was willing to see what happened, but I've seen what happens. 3 players surrounding the support. Draco will fall down. FaraKrik on the run. Creed gets a kill. 2-2-0 for the Amaterasu. Positionless. No lane to call her own. 6-5. Queso actually leading in the kills. The team fight should be different. Johnny up top. Lands on WorstTurttle, and will take him all the way out. Tied at 6.
No beads for WorstTurttle. Remember, he used those when trying to chase out Fusify on the right side mid-harpies just a little bit ago. So that's an easy dunk confirm. And no Aegis for him now that he's hit level 12. He decides to go for Blink on that Janus in the jungle. Sure. I mean,
okay.
It makes you harder to kill again. You already have that. In bounties, you know, you've got plenty of survivability already. Your Blink Unstable Vortex can catch people off guard for 500 to 600 damage. Sure. That is true.
A lot of things are true, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not my favorite. I would have much preferred to see him with the Aegis. I think the traditional approach. Even though you're in the jungle, I get it, but
It's just that there's a lot of things I'd want to Aegis on Flashpoint's comp. You want to Aegis the Thor burst. You want to Aegis FaraKrik's ultimate plus masterful shot. You want to Aegis Sibi's consuming bellow. You want to Aegis the stop time plus, big burst damage combo from Chronos. I mean, there's a lot that I think that you could have used Aegis for here, but WorstTurttle, I mean, Janus is the one character where saying don't get hit is actually very viable.
Yep.
So maybe he just won't get hit.
We'll see. Has a speed buff.
Yeah.
As Zero said, very fast. The ultimate will be a little slow for the Pyro, but great for the team fight. Johnny's going to go up and look for the damage. Who's he going to find? Draco and WorstTurttle would be good targets. Fusify needs help. Run away as Warchi lands down looking for Sibi. FaraKrik and Kespainify there trying to save their worm, but won't happen. Warchi gets the kill, and the save waited out. Nice job by Kespainify.
FaraKrik's dead. Creed's going to finish him off, but he got some good damage off towards the end, and that helps Johnny take down Draco.
Still not done yet. There's Creed trying to bob and weave while Julio both dealing with Johnny. He's getting the bonus and the benefit. Julio trades out with the jungle, excuse me. But Kespainify still here in local, putting down Julio. So a 4 for 3 as we see 1 for 1 for 1 for 1 for 1. Talk about back and forth.
WorstTurttle Blink.
This is a double kill.
Oh! So close. Nearly had it. Sub 20 HP. And yeah, Sibi's gonna teleport in, so you gotta get out of here. But he's out. I mean, no way that Jorm catches him.
Or he can die to the top.
No, that's easy for him. He's got creeps. Oh man, one more archer shot might have done it. We're feeling good about where we are, though. Just don't back near a wall. Just don't do this.
Don't. Oh!
Yep. Oh, he didn't see him. Just guessed. All right. Well, easy for him. You don't back near the wall right there because it's the only way you get caught. If you just hug the outside wall, there's no way Sibi's able to get around out of the jungle and hit you in time. But, they don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
One of the crazier moments there. 6 back and forth kills. Results in a Queso Gold Fury. All of a sudden, a lot closer than we started. Julio up the ultimate very quickly. Kespainify and his teammates force him out. Now Kespainify, the one being forced out by Creed. The ultimate will took him down. We're 11 there. The rest of Flashpoint, do they want to fight? The answer is no. Warchi does. He's inviting Queso to the party. Sibi big burst with the help of Johnny. And the Chernobog has to walk away.
He's A-okay, though. I mean, Draco's here with that ultimate in tow. Johnny's lurking. Might have a pretty good angle to this, but Sibi's the one who gets caught. Sick root.
Walled out is strong. Johnny still has ult, choosing not to look for it. Tier 1 tower under duress. There's just a blink in from Johnny. No ultimate. And the ultimate from the support player onto Warchi. That's enough to protect him, and Johnny goes down. Nice collapse by Team Queso.
Really weird hesitation by Johnny on the hammer throw. I mean, no beads for him, so it's not like he's trying to wait out the CC because then he can beads and hammer and not get interrupted, because he dies if he gets interrupted no matter what. So just hammer, man. Just use it.
Sibi finally falls down. Queso's onslaught to the Tier 1 tower is successful. They claim 2 lives and the tower itself. And Team Queso have not just tied the game, but taken over. A little over 1,000 gold in their corner. after a decent lead from Flashpoint.
I mean, Creed second in the player damage charts, man. I mean, I guess this is working for him on this Ama ADC. He's been able to catch up a little bit, is dealing relevant damage. He's building like a solo laner, so he's not building damage, which I think is the right call. I mean, I don't know what Flashpoint needs to do in order to help their backline, because the peel is so difficult on the characters like Wukong and Ama. They're two of the most unpeelable warriors in the entire game. And Kumbhakarna really good at initiating, can be good at peel, but really struggles when it's CC immunity. You know, no way to really help out other than outright CC. Ama, Wukong, a lot of what they're doing is CC immune, whether it's the root immunity from Wukong on the Ox form or just using the Somersault Cloud. Ama has a dazzling offensive. I mean, Fusify's had trouble trying to keep his backline alive. He's not level 12 yet, could really use a shell. I mean, his backliners are literally dying for a shell right now. They need it badly.
18 minutes in. We'll see what he opts for once he gets one more level. Queso again playing aggressive. And Creed looking at Johnny. 4 players, 5 players grouped up from Flashpoint, and now they're the ones on the offensive. Sibi won't catch up, and that's a full-out retreat from Queso.
I mean, that's just 3 beefy frontliners in front of Flashpoint. That was a 3v5. I mean, Warchi was backing. Sure, he's got his ultimate, but would have to be diving into the front line. That's a little bit scary. And WorstTurttle was nowhere near. He's got through space and time, but that's got to travel time. Fight might shift by the time he gets there. So that was risky by Queso, but not punished. Flashpoint just don't feel like they have the damage quite yet. No Titan's Bane for Johnny's very surprising. I mean, you need as much pen as possible.
Johnny's going to go up, and Johnny's going to land. Nice grouping here for Queso. They've spread out after the fact. Johnny finally falls down. Off screen, split push coming out from Warchi, looking for the left side Phoenix, and will be able to ult here to the team fight afterwards. Johnny chasing down Creed, no kill, but out of the fight for sure. Phoenix left side falls down. It's a win for Queso, regardless of the way the team fight goes, but they're also winning that. 1 for the jungle and 1 for the solo lane. Here comes the carry, like a bat out of hell, and Sibi sent all the way down there.
That is just brutal for Flashpoint, because they lost that fight 5-on-4 heavily, and Warchi got the best Phoenix you could possibly get, which is the furthest one from that Fire Giant. And it's just a bad target selection by Flashpoint, but who are they supposed to hit? I mean, they've got nothing but tanks to hit on right there.
Look, you got to build correctly, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lack of Titan's Bane really hurt him.
Fusify and the rest of Flashpoint kind of walk into the meat grinder here. Johnny walks out. His job. Tried to take down Warchi. Not enough damage. Still local. Johnny always trying to be the big boy. Usually is, but usually is not always. Flashpoint will lose their jungle here. As Julio finds kill number 19. Queso get a Pyromancer. This went from a Team Queso 2,000 gold deficit to a 10,000 gold lead in about 4 minutes, just like that.
I mean, it's just Queso gets a lot of power spike defensive options, and Flashpoint don't build enough pen. I mean, Crusher in that 3rd slot is very standard for FaraKrik, but Executioner's not going to help you at this point a whole lot. I mean, if you're autoing Creed 3 times, he's going to kill you. I mean, he can chase you down really easily. Same goes for Julio. Johnny needs to get a Titan's Bane. He's building into Blackthorn Hammer.
Yeah, that's the Shillelagh, I think, is, I hate to just say the wrong thing, but I think this is the wrong thing.
I mean, his mindset is probably that they don't have a whole lot of damage, so if I just get more HP, I'll be able to survive. But surviving is not really what you need. You need to be able to actually murder people. That's your job. You need Titan's Bane in that slot. I mean, Julio's able to build Heartseeker because he doesn't have to worry too much about the damage output from the other side quite yet. I mean, Kespainify is going to start swinging. He needs an Obsidian Shard. Next item, 100%. You've got double Genjis on the other side and a Hide of the Urchin for Creed. Good lord, if we don't see an Obsidian Shard, I'm going to lose my gourd, but...
I do love the binding coming out from Fusify. Fusify understands what the issue is here.
Yeah, but that's still not anywhere close to enough, right?
Sure, but it's what the support can contribute.
Sure.
Not going to tell him to buy a Void Stone.
Right.
Warchi showing all the way up to look for Sibi.
Sibi's dead.
Yeah, thorns or not. Big shots from Warchi. Tower won't kill him. Dracomarino tosses one out just in case. Johnny lands on the entirety of the blue team. The rest of Flashpoint trailing as they adjust back to base now. Right side, Phoenix is the target, and only 3 players will show up on D. Warchi got the shots, and the Phoenix will fall down relatively easily as Warchi takes care of another one.
That's
Team
game, man.
Queso very systematically dismantles what Flashpoint had amassed. And while Ryan and I questioned the composition and the build for about 20 of the 23 minutes here, Team Queso prove us wrong.
I mean, they played well. Like we said, as soon as you group up as 5, it doesn't matter where your lanes were. And make no mistake, the laning phase went horribly for Queso. It's that their team fight was so much better, and you can make the argument that's what the comp was designed to do. It's supposed to team fight really, really well. But I feel like if you gift a team like Flashpoint a lead like that, they have to be able to carry it better than they did. I think itemization hurt them, target selection hurt them, their fight selection hurt them. I mean, Flashpoint, this is a must-win for them, remember. I mean, they've got to win and still hope that Outcold lose. So Outcold's in control of their own destiny, but Flashpoint can do all they can here if they just win.
Tied at 1 apiece. We have a 3rd game, but first, we'll break it down.
Wow, Team Queso with very little to gain, with a sub stepping in here for them as well, do manage to take this Flashpoint team all the way to a 3rd game in this set. And just like Ryan was saying, this is a critical set for Flashpoint. They have to grab this win just to keep their chances alive. I'm sure somewhere out there, out cold, are hoping maybe that somehow Queso can get this win. Zeros, what did you see there in that last game, man, that turned that one around? Because just like in game 1, the team that was winning at the beginning is not the team we're talking about here now. They somehow end up losing.
Yeah, it's so weird. They were behind. The first game Queso is ahead early, loses. Now they're pretty far behind, and now they win. So that's kind of weird. And they do with the Janus jungle as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say? 6-1-8 for WorstTurttle. I mean, during most of the parts where they were struggling, I don't know the Janus was much of a factor for them. But then, once they started grouping up, they were able to play more around Dracomarino on this Khepri. Creed started getting involved, building surprisingly tanky for an ADC Amaterasu, but I think it still worked. And they were able to start getting some of this damage out from Warchi and WorstTurttle.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see it. The team comp they have, like, just it shows the strength of, like, just having so much global pressure and just being so fast in general. It's so hard to play against a team like that, because you can get a pick or whatever, and then they respawn, and like they can just be anywhere on the map whenever they want, really.
And what it was that it felt like they were able to reposition so often. Everyone on their team was just kind of hard to lock down. The Sun Wukong, the Janus, the Chernobog, the Khepri with the reses. It just made it difficult for Flashpoint to find any stable footing at a certain point when they had to try and fight all 5 members.
This was sick, by the way.
WorstTurttle trying to stick in close.
That was so close of a double kill there.
He nearly got it, and then he ends up going on a whole like escape path away, and it looks like he's gonna keep dying during that. But WorstTurtle's able to pull the Houdini and stay alive. Johnny ends up falling there in the mid lane too. But this was a huge game for Queso to be able to find this win. Now Flashpoint have got to find a way to regroup. I mean, obviously their draft worked at the beginning. It's just like I asked you in game 1. Does this feel more execution like a problem, or is this with their draft?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be the nerves as well, like, because like, thing is, Flashpoint is in a point they have to win to make it, right?
Yes.
For Queso, they can't make it, and they honestly they probably don't care too much. You see, they're having fun. I don't think Janus jungle is something they usually play. I think he's probably a good Janus player, and like, I want to play Janus this game, you know, and it works out. Like, I don't know. It wouldn't be surprised to see Flashpoint ban the Janus just because it's annoying with all the global pressure.
Yeah, you just don't want to have to deal with that as something that could be considered. Now, Queso is known for being a bit of a weirder team. They play a lot of stuff that not everyone else plays. I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see weird stuff from them in Game 3. But I think Flashpoint need to get back to what worked for them in Game number 1. We said already that I think Johnny is more of a damage-dealing jungler than someone who needs to be like a setup and facilitating guy like on the Thor. Give him like just someone who runs at people and kills them is what I want to see from him.
Yeah, sure, but he still did good on the 4, though. I don't think as Flashpoint, you can't rely on Johnny to just hard carry every game. Like, they have to, like, I feel like FaraKrik on the Chiron had very little impact, and same with Sibi on the Jorm.
Yes.
Compared to the counterpart, which did a lot, so... Yeah.
I do think that mid-support part of the team was crumbling a little bit in that mid-game, the Chiron, Kumba from FaraKrik and Fusify. And as you said, Sibi almost a non-factor in the Jormungandr, so a lot of stuff that Flashpoint can look to try and make some adjustments here in this next game. You just get so used to seeing Dzoni pull off heroics for this team, and you're like, yeah, that can't just happen every single game.
Yeah.
So Flashpoint bans away the Amaterasu, Chernobog, and the Khepri, and I think that has to force Team Queso to ban away the Tier, even though they really want it for Julio.
Yeah, apparently, I guess not.
No.
Surely, I'm pretty sure Flashpoint will get it here, right?
Yes.
I think Sibi plays it too. But I think for Flashpoint as well, I think that's probably going to be a mistake.
That could be a problem, yes.
Either way, I think Kespainify is a really good hunter player. I think he should be playing the hunters, and I think FaraKrik should be playing mages. I haven't really seen FaraKrik play hunters that much in my, like, any time I played against him at least, so I think they should go back to FaraKrik mages and Kespainify hunters.
Man, Tier and Isis as the top 2 picks for Team Queso. I think that out of those 3, Set's probably the worst one of those 3 gods that they picked out of that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. They just gave away a lot of firepower over to Team Queso in a game they have to win.
I was in a ranked game yesterday with aggro, and we got Tier Persephone first 2 picks as well, but we still lost. So.
But Team Queso do have some players that are a good bit better than aggro, so you probably don't have to worry, I'd say. Going
sure
into
about
this
that?
one. Maybe not so sure. As Jing and Jormungandr come in for Flashpoint. And Set, you're one of the people that thinks that Set's been a bit overvalued. What's your read on how strong you think the Set is right now?
It's just weird. I feel like he kind of relies on being ahead, and coming from the soul lane at least.
Sure. Being
ahead, rotate into mid-game team fights, and being like this kind of mid-game beast that like some of the warriors and Set, he's not a warrior, he's an assassin, but like he can also fill that role very well, I think. But if it doesn't get to that point, I feel like he just falls off so hard late game. So I don't love the pick, but it can do a lot as well.
It certainly can be a bit of a carry pick. I wonder if that could potentially go to Dzoni as the carrier. Will they give that over to Sibi? We'll have our chance to see. But Team Queso could have blind picked these top 3. Tier Isis into the Thor, followed by the Geb. I mean, only Khepri is a support that you might want more nowadays. This draft from Team Queso, I don't know, man. Those first 4 are nutty.
It's so good. Like they have the Geb, which is kind of weak early game, but they have Isis and 4 bind up with it, so it's gonna be such a strong 3-on-3. And Geb obviously so good at peeling for Isis as well, like so much CC and so much of everything really. Like the Queso picks are so strong.
Well, Ganesh is a good pick here though. Silences are always good in the channeled abilities, and in particular can shut down this Tier as well. So I do think that Ganesh is something worth looking at. But now the Janus comes in as well for Flashpoint. That's so odd.
Susano also like a pretty big counter to
and it's
Janus.
going ADC here, you think? They already have a Thor.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe. He did play Amaterasu ADC last game, right? So I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't really know who's going where, but I feel like Flashpoint has just gone with comfort picks there. They Kespainify back on the Jing way, really good on that.
Yeah.
Janus has always been a big pick for FaraKrik, but then again, not really meta picks. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm worried about this Flashpoint draft. Let's see where that Susano ends up as we move into this all-important Game 3.
What's the meta with you?
Wow, that's the energy we're going into here?
Absolutely. Flashpoint throwing it to the wayside and saying, you know what? FaraKrik, what are you good at? Fusify, what are you good at? And just picking what they're good at.
Yeah,
know,
but hey, Julio, what's your best god?
Tian. That was whoa! Is that Tier himself?
Sure. I don't know why if I'm asking Julio, Tier would answer. That doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. Tier's real good right now.
Very good.
And giving up Tier Isis is that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot to give up.
I am there. I think the ban phase for Flashpoint was a little bit rough. The pick phase, though, I'm content with what they have drafted. Whether or not they can climb the mountain that the enemy team has drafted in front of them, largely a different story. After last game, though, I'm confident that Flashpoint is sitting there going, well, maybe if we just play what we're good at. The Amaterasu is what Creed was good at, right? Solo laner, carry role, whatever. This time around, playing the Thor carry. Interesting choice for sure. And I think that might be the downfall. Simply because Team Queso were just too tanky for Flashpoint to kill. I really think Flashpoint lost the game because of itemization, almost exclusively. but here they won't have that issue.
No, I mean, Creed has gotten back to the TP, which made some sense to me on Ama, less sense to me on damaged Thor. WorstTurttle, he got his jet stream actually caught in the wall.
FaraKrik,
He should die here.
waiting for it. Got some first blood there for Flashpoint. FaraKrik taking back the Janus. Again, FaraKrik kind of... When I think FaraKrik, I think, unfortunately for him, two gods that we don't see all that often these days. Agni and Janus. Right now, we just saw the Janus, so I guess he's like, oh, I remember. That's my best god.
Yeah, that happens all the time. I mean, someone plays a god you're good at on the other team, and they do well, and you're like, dude, I could have done that, but so much better. And like, let me show you how it's done.
So there is no difference between ranked and competitive.
No, it's the exact same in that instance for sure. That is one of the few similarities I'd say between those two levels of play. And look, if I were to put blinders on and not look at Queso's draft and look at what Flashpoint have, I'd be like, wow, they got a sick draft. I mean, these are characters that they're all really good at, very, very comfortable on. Johnny got set, hard carry god for the hard carry. I love it, but I don't know, man.
Flashpoint playing aggressive one more time. Julio jumped on and put down Johnny. Kill number 2 there.
Whew.
Already 1,500 gold in the lead. Fusify eking his way out. And if I'm Flashpoint and I'm going up against, like you said, the blinders off, and I actually get to see the draft that Team Queso has gotten, I'm afraid, and I say, boy, we better win this one early.
Yeah. But it's got to be centered around Johnny. Or you're hoping that Johnny has a big pop-off team fight, because that's kind of what you're counting on at this rate. WorstTurttle should not be here.
Queso know he's there as well. They played it like they don't. Oh, I don't know about that anymore. Never mind. I really thought they knew he was there, but Fusify walking past made me think they didn't. WorstTurttle with the worst move. I wish you could see aggro. Can I take a picture in time?
Holy cow, what was that?
That was the worst play I've seen in a while. I mean, I'm usually the one that tries to find the thought process. I'm usually the one that goes, now I don't agree, but here's where the X's and O line up. Aggro, while I don't agree, and that's the end of it. There is no place where that was a good thought process. Can you figure out where that was a good thought process?
If WorstTurtle doesn't want to win.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no... That was horribly bad.
Yeah.
And I feel very confident in saying that.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm usually the one trying to find what they were looking for. I got nothing that one.
And this is best case scenario for Flashpoint, right? I mean, WorstTurtle has gifted Johnny a massive lead in the jungle. He set himself really far behind. You've gotten consistent pressure on this right-hand side. I mean, Johnny's level 5, and WorstTurtle, I don't think is even close to level 5 right now. This is exactly where you want to be.
Flashpoint looking for the invade again. A little bit late, though. Here comes Janus. Johnny will just walk down Julio. Johnny will look for the same on Dracomarino, but the ISIS through the wall will stun him out. Nice job coming out from Warchi. And the pop, not good enough. No magnitude there. And Sibi finds number 5. Team Queso on the board. Can they get it?
Nope.
The answer...
Nope, WorstTurtle missed the jet stream.
Misses.
And Fusify's out of there. Easy for him. Draco will survive, as will WorstTurtle. But the big thing is that Johnny lives, because he's the one who has the big bounty on his head. He's on a killing spree already. He's level 6. The fact that he took a tower shot from the tier 2 concerned me, but was able to still end up surviving. I mean, this is a must-win for Flashpoint, and as I highlighted towards the end there, even if they win, it's not a guarantee. Outcold still in control of their own destiny. But they would need to beat the top seed in Simplicity. Well, the projected top seed.
Sure.
If Outcold end up 2-0ing, then I believe it's a full-on
The
tie for
colloquial
first.
top seed.
Sure.
We all look at Simplicity as the team to beat here.
Yes.
In the European minor league for sure.
So the idea of Outcold getting an easy victory there does not seem particularly likely to me. Flashpoint would probably feel pretty good about their chances should they win, and they should feel awfully good about their chances to win with how well this Game 3 has gone.
Fusify on the Ganesh, one of his more powerful characters. Again, look at the beautiful play out of it. You'll love to see it. But Flashpoint will have some trouble finishing off those kills. Warchi heals up, and WorstTurttle gets out of there no problem. And so despite the great play by Fusify there, his team unable to convert.
Oh, Warchi's going to get caught. This is actually going to be perfect. I mean, Johnny, he's going to want this speed. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it. A lot of people in tow. I like his idea to start backing up.
Here comes a little bit of help. WorstTurttle going to get the ultimate off. That said, the Kingslayer popped. Down goes one, and there's the trade out. The unfortunate fight still gets one, but Team Queso finally on the board. Fusify goes down, so the secondary kill to the cheesy guys, and that's going to be 6-2. Just 7 minutes in, very, very active.
Now, I don't know why Creed decided to wait so long to come down with that dunk, because, I mean, that ends up killing WorstTurttle effectively because he doesn't come down in time, but at least he's able to find the target on the other end and gets Fusify and make sure it's a 2-for-1 instead of just a 1-for-0. Still, I want to keep WorstTurttle on the map as much as possible because my man needs farm desperately.
Yes. Level 5, level 6, comparatively speaking, to the level 8.5. Johnny?
He's down how much gold? Let's go back to the net worth charts real quick if we could. Yeah, he's down 1,300 by himself.
WorstTurtle going to be put down a second time if Flashpoint can have their way, but a nice assist from Creed and Draco will protect their much-needed protection onto the jungler. Dive? Not quite. So Flashpoint still quietly leading here at 8.5. That red buff is theirs. Team Queso does not have beachfront property just yet. Gold Fury started by Flashpoint. Queso can get involved, and they should. Draco no ultimate available as he looks for Fusify here. Pops it down. Here comes Julio from over the top, and Sibi gonna go to the ultimate as well. But it's FaraKrik and Johnny on both sides of the team fight, putting it down. Fusify hanging on for dear life, and WorstTurttle takes it away.
WorstTurtle looks, hey, what can come through this portal? Oh, it's the super fed set Johnny with a bunch of kills going his way, and he might have another one.
Triple kill so far for Johnny. Creed teleports to the other side, and Sibi looks to finish off that one. The spit is good. Number 11 for Flashpoint. 3 to Johnny in the fight. He's lucky number 7, but it's all skill here, and he's lining up for a victory.
Sibi might be overstaying, though. I mean, no ultimate, no mana left. Julio on the tier can't do a whole lot against him, but can slow him down, and that's what he'll try and do.
Slow, and taking some extra damage. Good stuff here so far. But at the end of the day, Sibi, even if he dies here, what is the consequence? Flashpoint already in waiting. Sibi will go down, but if Queso look for the Gold Fury, I think it's a... They're almost baiting themselves without the Ice Assault. It'll come up soon, and then it's a different look, but mistimed with the death and the ultimates. Rough stuff.
We see FaraKrik not going for that do more build that we see so often in mid these days. I kind of agree with this style, honestly. I think that the Chronos pendant is not a particularly strong item right now, but I still love it on Janus. He needs the MP5 really badly. He can make use of that passive better than anybody, constantly throwing out abilities. The CDR is great on him. And I think that FaraKrik has a really good understanding of using this character for what you should be using it for.
Exactly.
You can play damage mage on 20 different mages, man.
Yep.
Every time I see book Janus,
I
cry inside, man. I hate it.
It's just a misunderstanding of what the character's supposed to do, and the idea of what is the mage build is the wrong question you should be asking. What is the mid lane build? Still the wrong question you should be asking. Especially if you're going to play non-meta characters. Hold that. WorstTurtle shows up, looking to make a mess of this odd Gold Fury, taking control. Flashpoint still get it. That was as best of a look as WorstTurtle's going to get there. FaraKrik in and out. Warchi goes down, and Flashpoint still come up good.
Julio's hunting. FaraKrik has no beads, but Julio can't quite find him yet. Johnny with an early bead to try and keep that Fearless away, but now it's a big one for Julio.
Double Fearless there. The power cleave gonna hit him again. The knock up after the fact thanks to the blue stance, but Johnny still doing it. Bad luck 13 as Flashpoint put him up Baker's dozen. Johnny still exiting on the left-hand side. Heal up. deal down. It's 13-5. Flashpoint up by about 5,000 gold.
That was a really nicely done reset between FaraKrik and Kespainify to know when WorstTurttle was going to come in. They reset it at the perfect time. And really, I think WorstTurttle is favored to get that Gold Fury by a considerable margin. I don't know what got it. Maybe he dashed a couple damage points too early, and an auto attack came through from Kespainify to steal it away. I didn't see an Unstable Vortex come through. I mean, that was just a bit unfortunate, I would say. I think WorstTurtle, despite having a really, really rough game so far, did his best he could there.
Yeah, it was the best shot he was going to get. And it's something that, again, didn't come up well, but I would ask him to do that again. I think that is the right play, despite the outcome. That is the correct play for WorstTurtle. You know, it's funny. I feel like Flashpoint dropped the fundamentals in game number 2 really heavily. Real simple stuff eluded them. And then you watch them dance with the Gold Fury there, and you go, what is this team?
They are an enigma.
FaraKrik on the non-meta selection, understanding the identity and the true role of the character. Kespainify here, dodging what Creed wants to give him. Meanwhile, right side, the 2-on-1 as Julio stuck underneath the tower here. Johnny back to base. 2 levels. His direct opponent, Senior.
I am a little bit concerned that there's not a whole lot of anti-heal on Flashpoint. I think as we start to see more and more tier, I think people will realize that we need anti-heal to deal with that defensive stance power cleave. It's just absurd what he gets back.
Yep.
And it's on such a low cooldown. 8 seconds at base. He's going to get CDR. Right now, Julio's got 20%. That is scary stuff.
Julio's up.
Creed.
Excuse me, Creed. I forgot the carry Thor.
Yeah.
Which
And it turns out you can indeed take him higher. Thank you.
Fight under the tower. Big ultimate from FaraKrik cuts it in half. Kespainify airdrops over it, and that's going to be a dead Warchi. Julio will follow as Johnny finds the damage. I don't know another Creed song to follow up for Ryan.
It's all right, man. I'd embrace you with arms wide open anyways.
I will take that as a badge of honor. Tier 2 tower crumbling at 14-20. Scott Stapp.
Yeah. You know, we all went to a minor league hockey game this weekend, and you know what I listened to on the way home? We were jamming to some Creed. It's a great sing-along.
Who is
man.
we?
I'm not going to throw them under the bus. This is my choice to put myself out there on this one. But if you can't sing like you've got a bunch of marbles in your mouth really loudly, then I feel bad for you. It's fun.
Scott Stapp spawned out of Eddie Vedder's
Go ahead.
mouth hole.
That's a weird way to say that.
Can you tell where
Oh, yeah? All right. Seems like you could have joined the sing-along.
with arms wide open?
You don't even have, like, a whole bunch of, like, goldfish in your mouth.
You ever play, we did it at Spring Fling one year. You ever do Fluffy Bunnies?
Yeah, we call it Chubby Bunny.
That's the, yeah.
Yeah.
Pina won.
That does not surprise me.
Warchi in trouble as Fusify forces the fight. I say force. This is not a fight that Flashpoint can get to easily, but they'll take the trip. Here comes FaraKrik to his own ultimate, trying to find the basics. Can't get him. So Sibi will pop over the top, take a portal for fun, and Flashpoint having tons of fun. 2 players split pushing on Team Queso. So this should be a relatively free Phoenix.
I don't know. They don't have minions. This is going to be tough. That's
It
a
is.
good Cataclysm from Draco, but now he's dead.
Yeah, FaraKrik picks that one up. Only 16 minutes in, excuse me. So the Phoenix will be a little bit more robust than previously stated. Julio with a nice reposition.
Creed's ultimate there was not what you're looking for. Did ulted from the fountain, it looked like, and was expecting people to chase Julio underneath the Phoenix, but that wasn't going to happen. I mean, at least the Phoenix gets defended. But you can see the effects of losing both your towers this early on in the game. Warchi had nowhere to run.
Gold Fury goes to Flashpoint. Queso not grouped up enough to even punish. 17 in, and Flashpoint, well, let me specify, 1650, and Flashpoint have more kills than there are minutes in the game at this very moment. 9,000 gold up. You could say Flashpoint are running this one.
Yeah, I think that would be a fair assessment. Kespainify is getting baited here, though.
0-5 and 2. Rough stuff for the ISIS. Kespainify will try and get away here. Avoids the ISIS ult, but 4-on-1 will not go his way. We lamented the ISIS selection. Very strong character. What is it that Flashpoint have done to keep the ISIS so completely out of the conversation?
They've somehow convinced WorstTurttle to take really bad fights over and over and over again and set him really far behind, which set FaraKrik and Dzoni and Fusify really far ahead, which means that you don't care what the ISIS does because you are just more fed than her, which has always been a very good strategy for dealing with that character.
Yep. Just consistently trying to put down the jungler. That, of course, has plenty of reverberations. Sibi thought about it. Walks away. Team Queso down 9,000 gold here. Finding their way in, hate to be the bearer of bad news, will not come from their jungler. I'm honestly looking at Creed. Creed has to be the guy. The build is interesting, to say the least. I think Creed needs to be the catalyst here for Team Queso. He can initiate. He's tanky enough to plop himself down in the middle of a couple of players. Instead, plops himself down in the middle of a couple of minions. Clears the wave. Queso will certainly get a lot of information from that ultimate, but they won't even act on it as the Pyromancer freely taken.
Julio's in trouble now. I mean, he's tanky, but I don't know if he's going to be tanky enough. Does get away and has to use beads to get rid of the slow, and I think is actually out.
He might be out. Dzoni, on the other
Meanwhile,
hand, putting down Creed and the other two players by his lonesome. 3v1, and Dzoni just doesn't care. Kespainify, number 19, number 2 for him personally. A back from Flashpoint.
I mean, that is just what you want your set to do. I mean,
Yep.
he goes upgraded shell, so he's got a bunch of extra HP and some block stacks. You've got tons of HP, and the stone cutting sword makes sure you're dealing relevant damage at the same time. I mean, Zeros talks a lot about how he thinks set solo is really good in comparison to set jungle or ADC because it lets you rotate in and be this monster that's really hard to deal with in the mid game. This is solo set by Dzoni. He is solo later levels of ahead, and he's built pretty bruisery, a little bit more damage leaning, but still, at the end of the day, it's a bruiser build.
I love it, by the way.
I mean, he's unstoppable right now.
I subscribe to the mentality that the solo set is my favorite. I think the free numbers you get are really strong, and the transition into the jungle here is fearless by Julio, but again, Fusify. Talking about Flashpoint being good at their characters, we mentioned the out-of-meta Ganesh and Janus. What FaraKrik and Fusify have done on these characters is fantastic to watch.
Yeah, Fusify's been so annoying, I bet, for Queso players, specifically WorstTurttle and Warchi, these channeled ability characters. Try and get their damage off, it's been pretty much impossible.
Dracomarino trying to play defense here as the Phoenix get pressed on. Last time was 16 minutes. Flashpoint didn't have the Fire Giant either. Didn't have the damage. Dzoni chasing WorstTurttle. A little bit of help from his friends. FaraKrik shows up. That was number 22. Lane still under duress. It's 5 on 3. Flashpoint have the moment. Pop, pop from Warchi. An ineffective Isis ult.
Still, I mean, everyone's kind of weak, especially these frontliners, but here comes Dzoni, and yeah, that's the way that goes. Oh, Creed, your hammer's down? Yeah, you're dead too. Can't be doing that. Oh, Julio, would you like some of this? That sounds good to me. Johnny's willing to brawl.
The ants go marching one by one, and Dzoni says, hold that, hurrah, hurrah. 4 players on the bench. Dracomarino still alive, but the tier 3 tower, if you will, goes down. And Flashpoint, trying to make their way to land, look like they will be waiting with bated breath on to the next set because they have done everything they need to get to land themselves.
That's right. They take game 3. They beat Team Queso. box one, check. Now it's sit around, wait to see what happens between Simplicity and Out Cold, and put the pressure on Out Cold. This is the most that you can do in Flashpoint's shoes. So, I mean, you just got to wait and see.
A great performance as well. I mean, fantastic stuff out of FaraKrik and Fusify, as we had mentioned. But really, this was the classic Flashpoint look. Johnny shows up, hard carries, his teammates surround him with presence. This was a beautiful look, and it's what you expect. It's what you want to see if you're a Flashpoint fan.
I mean, it's kind of crazy that you give up Tier Isis on the other side. Tier Isis Thor are the 3 first picks.
1 to
for
8
Queso.
tier specialists.
Right, exactly. And it just turns out that Johnny's set is greater than all of those. I mean, if you're finding the value for X and Johnny's set is X, it's more than the sum of Warchi's Isis, Julio's Tier, and Creed's Thor.
All right, nerd. Johnny, on the other hand, the opposite. The truest chat of them all, just like, what if I'm better than you, dog? That's what this draft was from Flashpoint. What if Johnny is better than you?
Then you probably lose the game because he got set.
That's what it was. Johnny and the team take it. Flashpoint waiting to see what happens. They could go to LAN. We'll be back after this.